Hello and welcome to my channel. Today's video we are going to be making this little oh snap gingerbread man. The idea to do just one leg for him actually came from one of my regular viewers. So I am actually going to be making both gingerbread mans, this one in another video. This video we will do this one. Just going to be done all in one piece. So we are going to do the arms first, and then we'll move on to the head, add the arms when we get to the neck, do the body. We'll go over and do the little ripped, snapped piece of his leg, and then one leg, which I'm sure all my viewers will be happy about because it's been a while since I've done one that hasn't been standing on two legs. This will be a crochet along, so I will do every stitch with you, and then along the top there will be a little drop down for the first 15 seconds of every row, just in case you get lost or didn't understand what I was doing, that you can follow along with. And if you enjoy watching my videos, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and you will be notified every time I load a new video. You can also hit the thumbs up or leave me a comment. And I think that's everything I need to say, so let's get started. Okay, to begin, we are going to make our knot with our loop on the end. Insert your hook, grab your yarn, pull up and through, and chain one. And that is just to attach our yarn to our loop, and it does not count as a stitch. So for round one, we are going to do 6 single crochets into the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Grab a stitch marker if you are using one. For round 2, we are going to do 2 single crochets and then 1 increase, and then repeat that for a total of 8 stitches. So 1, 2, and an increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, and an increase, 7 and 8. And don't finish that 8th stitch because we're going to attach white right now. And all we're going to do is tie it on to our brown, or whatever color you are using, your main color. And I like to tie it about 3 times. And then you're just going to pull your white through to finish that 8th stitch. So I've also been toying with a different way of starting my color changes. It kind of alleviates a bit of that step by filling in the little space. So we're going to slip stitch into that first stitch, and we're going to chain 1, and in that same stitch is where we're going to start our first single crochet. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And don't finish that off because we are going to change back to our brown. And just tie that up. And then finish off that 8th stitch of round 3. Okay, so flip your stitch marker, and now when you start, you need to start way over here in this stitch. So here's your slip stitch, your chain 1, and this is your first stitch. So you want to go just kind of behind or on top, whatever you want to call that, and go in right there with your first single crochet. So for rounds 4 and 5, we're just going to do 8 single crochets. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and one more, row 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. For row 6, we're going to do 2 single crochets and 1 decrease for a total of 6. So 1, oops, 2, and a decrease for 3. 4, 5, and a decrease for 6. And now we're just going to put a little bit of stuffing in. And you don't need a lot. Even this is probably too much. I'll try that. And what you want to do is make sure, so this is for 2 that I'm taking, split it in half, kind of make sure that they're the same. So when you do your second arm, it's got about the same amount of stuffing in it. And then just put that little tiny bit in your arm. We want the whole arm to be kind of fluffy now. And then we're just going to put 2 single crochets in to close it up. So you're going to want your first one on this side, go through both sides and do your 1 single crochet, and then do your second one over on this side. So you're kind of skipping that middle stitch. Pull it tight and leave a bit of a tail for later. Okay, so now you are going to make 2 of these. So if this is your first arm, in the next frame I will put a screenshot for the timestamp to go back to the arm and do the second one. If you've already done your second arm, just keep on watching, and in about 5 seconds we will start on the head. Okay, take your brown or whichever color you are using for the main color. Tie your knot with the loop on the end. Insert your hook, grab your yarn and pull through, and do your chain 1 to attach that to the loop, remembering that doesn't count as a stitch. And we are going to do, for round 1, 6 single crochets into the loop. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Grab your stitch marker if you're using one. And now we, for round 2, are going to do 6 increases. So that'll be 2 stitches in every stitch all the way around for a total of 12. So 1 and 2 for our increase. Increase again. 3 and 4. Increase. 5 and 6. Increase. 7 and 8. Increase. 9 and 10. And increase. 11 and 12. For round 3, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 increase for a total of 18. So 1 increase, 2 and 3, 4 increase, 5 and 6, 7 increase, 8 and 9, 10 increase, 11 and 12, 13 increase, 14 and 15, 16 and an increase, 17 and 18. For round 4, we are going to do 2 single crochets, 1 increase for a total of 24. So 1, 2, increase, 3 and 4, 5, 6, increase, 7 and 8, 9, 10, increase, 11 and 12, 13, 14, increase, 15 and 16, 17, 18, increase, 19 and 20, 21, 22, and our last increase 23 and 24. For rows 5 to 8, we are going to do 24 single crochets all the way around, so that's going to be 4 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. That was one row. There's our second row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. That was our second row. So our third row now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. That was 3 rows, and now for our fourth row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, and 24. For row 9, we're going to do 2 single crochets, 1 decrease, repeat that around for a total of 18. So 1, 2, and decrease for 3, 4, 5, decrease for 6, 7, 8, and decrease for 9, 10, 11, decrease for 12, 13, 14, decrease for 15, whoops, 16, 17, and decrease for 18. For row 10, we are going to do 1 single crochet, 1 decrease, repeat that all the way around for a total of 12. So 1, decrease 2, 3, decrease 4, 5, decrease 6, 7, decrease 8, 9, decrease 10, 11, and decrease for 12. Row 11, we're going to do the arms, and it's going to be 2 single crochets, 2 single crochets through the arm and the head, 4 single crochets, 2 single crochets through the arm and the head, and 2 single crochets. But I will go through that with you slowly. So you're going to do your 2 single crochets, 1 and 2. Pick up your arm, remembering that this is the back where your stitch marker is. And you're going to attach your arm with the strings facing towards the front. And you're going to go into that first single crochet of your arm and the next single crochet of the head. And you're going to put 2 single crochets. So 1 and 2. Making sure not to go over that tail because we need it on the outside. Now we are going to do 4 single crochets across the front. 1, 2, 3, 4. Grab your second arm, making sure the strings are pointing towards the front. And we're going to go through the first on the arm and the next on the head. So that's 1 single crochet and then 2 on the other side. And then we should have 2 stitches left. 1 and 2. For round 12, we're going to do 3 single crochets, an increase, 4 single crochets, an increase, and 3 single crochets for a total of 14. So 1, 2, 3, and increase. And we're going to do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and increase. And then we should have 3 on the other side. 1, 2, and 3. For row 13, we're going to do 3 single crochets, an increase, 6 single crochets, an increase, and 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, and 3, increase, and then we're going to do 6 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and increase. And then we should have 3 left. 1, 2, and 3. For round 14, we're going to do 4 single crochets, increase, 6 single crochets, increase, and 4 single crochets. So 4 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, and an increase. And 6 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and an increase, 1 and 2, and then we should have 4 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, and 4. For row 15, we're going to do 4 single crochets, an increase, 8 single crochets, an increase, and 4 single crochets for a total of 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, increase, 1 and 2, and then we're going to do 8 single crochets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then we're going to increase 1 and 2, and we should have 4 single crochets left. 1, 2, 3, and 4. For rows 16 and 17, we are just going to do 20 single crochets all the way around. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. And our second row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Okay, so you should have a little guy that looks something like this. And now we're going to add his eyes before we start closing up his bottom. And you're just going to want to, usually I stuff it, but for this guy, I seem to be doing okay not stuffing him. So you're just going to find your center, and you can do that if you're unsure, using your 4 stitches where you did the front of the arms. So 1, 2, and 1, 2. So this is about your center, and then just go up about halfway and stick your needle in. And now we are going to count down 6 rows, and our eyes will go between rows 6 and 7. So starting at the top where you made your first round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to move that up 1. I'm going to make my center there, I think. And we are just going to go over 2 stitches with our eye if we're using safety eyes. So there's 1 and 2, and it's going to go in that second hole from the center you marked off. And then you're going to do the same thing on the other side. 1 and 2, and stick it in that second hole. Have a quick little look. If you're happy with it, we'll put the backs on. You can also embroider the eyes if you don't have safety eyes, or use little buttons or little beads would work. Where's my eye? There it is. So just click it down and then do the other side. Make sure you're not pinching any of your other pieces in between, like your sides or your arms or anything. And now we'll just add a little bit of stuffing, and we're not going to stuff him too firmly. My goal is to have his head more flat and oblong than round. You can do either way, whatever you're feeling and think he should be looking like. But when I'm doing mine, I'm kind of pushing my stuffing out to the sides instead of to the top, so that I can kind of squish his head down and it's a little more oval. And you can put a little bit in his body, but not too much, because you're gonna wanna have a little bit of space here for when you are closing him shut. So he should look something like that. Okay, now we need to find our center. So we're just gonna hold it nice and straight and fold it down kind of in a triangle shape. So this is going to be your first stitch on the front, and this will be your first stitch on the back. And you're going to count over 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that will be your one leg that you're going to, that'll be this leg. And you're going to go over one more stitch now for your second leg, and that'll be the first stitch of your broken leg. And you're going to count 10 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you're going to put your needle in that 10 stitch and just temporarily put a little marker in there so you know where to stop and start. You don't really need this here right now, I guess. And you're going to do 2 stitches or whatever you have here to your first stitch marker. So I have 2 stitches. 1, 2. Now you're going to squish this together, and you're going to single crochet through both sides, the front and the back, starting where your stitch marker is. So right there and right there. And you can take that out now if you want. And now you're just going to single crochet across that side through both sides. So 1, make sure your stitch line up. 2, 3, 4, and 5 in that last little piece there. Now you're going to turn it around, and you're going to chain 3. 1, 2, and 3. And then in the next stitch, so not this one, but this one, you're going to do a slip stitch. And then you're going to chain 3 again. 1, 2, 3. And then you're going to slip stitch in the next stitch. 1, 2, 3 chains, and then slip stitch in the next stitch. And then chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and slip stitch in this last stitch right here. You don't want to go into this stitch or that stitch, because that will be your full leg that you're going to do. Okay, now for this leg, you are going to do row 1 to 3, 10 single crochets. So we're not going in this stitch right here that we've been in. We're going in this stitch right here that's empty. And we're going to do 10 single crochets. Keep that on the tighter side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 should be your last stitch there. And then turn around and you're ready to start on the other side. Now make sure you're starting in this stitch where you had your stitch marker. We're going to do our second row of 10. One, 2, oops, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, whoops, and 10. Oh, not doing very good there. Flip your stitch marker and then your third row of 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, but don't finish that 10th one off because now we are going to attach our white. Make sure you get down nice and tight to the end there. Okay, grab your white and we are going to do 10 single crochets around in the white. Now, and if you remember the new way we're doing it, we're going to do a slip stitch, a chain 1, and then our first single crochet in that same stitch. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and don't finish that off because we got to change back to our brown. I know that's no fun for one row. Hopefully when I do the bigger one in the future, I'll do at least 2 rows, but we'll see what it looks like first. All right, pull your brown through. And now we're going to do one more row of 10. And remember, we're starting over here behind this first single crochet or on top of it, whatever you consider that to be. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then we'll add some stuffing. And we don't need to add a lot. We want it to be kind of squishy. But we might have to put some around over on that side where there's no leg. Just because we lightly stuffed it before and didn't quite get a full stuff over there. Just be careful not to stuff it so much that you're stretching your stitches. I think that's enough for me. I'll put a little more in his leg. I really don't like this stuffing. It looks like a Santa beard though. If I wanted to make Santa and glue that on. All right, so that's about enough. I'm gonna add a little bit more before I close it up. All right, I just realized I haven't been saying the rows, but this is gonna be row 6, and it's just gonna be 5 decreases. So 1 decrease, 2 decreases, 3 decreases, 4 decreases, and 5 decreases. And then just do a little slip stitch and tie that off. And what I did was I used my leg strings to go through and up so you can make it a little ornament. If you're adding a keychain or not doing anything with the top, then you don't have to really have a long tail. Then we'll just add a little bit of stuffing in there just to fill up that bottom. And this is a little bit on the trickier side, but yeah, we don't want that in there. Okay. I probably should be doing this part off camera, but if you're doing it with me, you're going to need to take a few seconds, I guess, as well. Usually if you can get kind of like a little ball under there, so it's a little thicker, it's a little easier, but it doesn't seem to be happening for me right now. Go in there. There we go. That might be too much anyways. And make sure you get all the stuffing inside and there's no little scragglers. It is a little thicker than I wanted it, but that's okay. Then we're just going to close that up. We'll tie a little knot somewhere close to the center just to secure that. And we will put it in the middle and up and all the way through to that top loop, if I can find it. Nope. There we go. Don't pull it too hard or you're going to scooch your leg up. Just enough to hide that knot. And then maybe move some of that stuffing back. And then we're going to tighten up our arms. And you're just going to take your string and you're going to stick it right in your hole where your last stitch was to join the arm. Flip it around and come through the back center somewhere. And then do the same for the other arm. Right in one of those last stitches you were in. And then you're just going to pull them. So you can pop that where you tied off up inside his neck. And usually I pull these fairly tight. Actually, I might have to go in a different stitch. Shoot. I went up a row, I think. Anyway, so I'm not pulling these ones quite as tight because his arms kind of stick out and are floofy, like thicker. So I'm just going to lightly tie this one. You can always watch the front and see what's going on. Now we're going to hide those ends. I think I'm going to go up this time. If you didn't leave yourself enough string on your leg and you have lots on your arm strings, you could also bring these up here and use them as your tie. Because he's not very heavy, so we can have a little bit of weight on his arms, I would think. Okay. Okay, it's going to help you out for the first time if you grab your pins and do what I did. So I found the center where we put his eyes in. So this is the row his eyes are in. And I went down 1, 2 rows, and I put my pin right in where I thought center was. And mine happens to be not a hole, but a stitch. And then to find the corners of his mouth, I went 1 hole and in the second hole. 1 hole and in the second hole. To find his little, they were originally eyebrows, but they look more like the little eye things now. So you're going to find just above the eye, you're going to put your pin in the middle there. And then just in that same row where you put the eyes, behind the eye is where your other pin's going to go. And then the same thing on that side. On the top middle, and right behind the eye on the same row that you put the eye in. So grab a scrap of white if you have one. We're going to need about 6 to 12 inches, and you'll probably still have lots left over. You're going to just come somewhere in between the eyes, and you're going to go over to this side where this pin is. Leaving a little bit on the up in here to stitch or to tie that in later. Then you're going to go down where this pin is. Then you're going to come up through where I have the red pin. and then over to where the other red pin is, and you're going to go in that hole and out where this bottom green pin is. And then in where this last green pin is. And out where you started. Nope, sorry, we gotta do one more thing down here. So try and get down one row into the next stitch. And you're gonna go under his mouth, around it, and then back into that same stitch you were just in, and then come up and out this time. And that'll just give him a little bit of a curve to his mouth. And before you commit to tying that, just kind of check that all your things are how you want them. Oh yeah, so. And then you're just going to tie that and hide your ends. I'm just going to go straight out the back. And when you pull this, make sure you're not putting in much tension on your stitches in the front that you just made. And if you did, just give them a little lift. Okay, for the cheeks, just grab a little bit of pink. And you're going to go one stitch over from your mouth, and hopefully it's the same, and we're going to go like this on an angle. So coming down from somewhere between his eyes, go over to that first stitch from the mouth. Leaving a little bit there left to tie, and we're just going to go around about 2 or 3 times on the one side. So that's 1, 2, and this will be 3, and I'm going to go over to the other side, 1 stitch over from his mouth. And this time I'm going to go on an angle this way and just do the same thing. Whoops, I got a little stuffing there. I don't want that. One, 2, and because I've already come up and up out, that'll be our third one when I go down. Oh, it looks a little messier. And then just come over and out where you first started. And there's your little cheeks. And we'll tie that off. This will go through to the back of his head somewhere. Whoop. Trim that. can come in and kind of floof his cheeks up if you've pulled them a little too tight, or you need to make them more even. And now we'll do the little white icings on his head. So grab some more of your white. I think if you went arm to arm outstretched, that should be more than enough. And if you're making more and you did use too much, that can be your next white to embroider the face. So we're going to start by going, watch this, you don't want to go in here. So we're going to start by going down through the hole in the top of his head. And I'm doing the short one first. So I'm just going to go 1, 2 rows down. So I'm always going to go 2 rows down for the shorter one. Leave a little bit for tying. And then I'm going to come over here in the 3rd row, 1, 2, 3, but from inside. So 1, 2, 3, I'll be coming here. And these will be the long ones on the 3rd row. So I'm going to match that on the other side. So another long one. And then I'm going to do 2 short ones, 1 on each side. So into the 2nd row. And I'm not really keeping track of how many stitches I'm going over. I'm just kind of trying to keep them kind of even. So there's your 2 short rows. Or, I don't know what you call these. Originally I thought they could be hair. So now you're going to do 2 long rows. I don't know why I'm saying rows. 2 long ones. 1 on each side. So just remember, go 2 rows and 3 rows and 2 rows and 3 rows, and just do that till you get all the way around to the back of his head. So this is a short row. I'm still calling them rows. So this is a short one again. I'm going to flip these around so they're not in my way. Now I need some long ones. And it does kind of get tricky here where the rows kind of aren't even. But you're not really going to be looking at the back. 1, 2, 3. I might just do 1 more and be done. Alright, so then you're going to take your other white end and you're going to tie this as close to the top center as you can. It doesn't want to go that way. There we go. Whoops, I pulled that too tight. That's okay. I don't think I can fix it either. And then we're just going to tie that down, hide it down in the hole here. Sorry, this isn't very professional. I'm sure I've said that many a times, haven't I? I wish I could just sit where I usually sit, have the camera somehow attached to me and just comfortably do this, but I've not figured out how to do that yet. Oops, see. Okay. Now you can just tie up here if you want. You can make a chain over here if you want. I made a chain on this one. We should have that close to the bottom. And then just put your end in. I guess we're almost done. So if you like this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Not only does that help me out, but it also will let you know when I load a new video. You can leave me a comment or hit the thumbs up button if you enjoy it. Also, I do have a Facebook craft page that will be linked down in the description if you want to go there and share anything you've made with me. And if you see anything in the background you like, I will have a tutorial for every single thing that's here right now. Except this guy. I just did him last night. But if you want to attempt him in the blanket yarn, I do have the video for this guy, and it's the exact same pattern. Okay. I hope you have a great day. Stay safe and happy crocheting.